Hi, hello everybody. This is just going to be a walkthrough through week 6 or for week 6 in quarter 2. Already posted this video. The checklist is up Monday and Tuesday, so this is going to be basically the last week before break. So you're going to see the very first thing we're going to go over is criteria D. Should have been already explained last week, and now it's due. Just a reminder, walking through just criteria is due today. Make sure that they understand that they didn't, if they didn't turn it in, to turn it in. Kind of just a reminder. And then we're going to go over assemblies. So first thing we talk about are what are assemblies, why are they even used, what is their purpose, building an assembly, and what the definition behind it is. Even more so, where they're used in Onshape and what they are considered. So in here we talk about just assemblies in general, and then more focused into Onshape and CAD. Then I break down. I found these really cool videos that break down basically creating an assembly, adding components, and then mating components. So we're just breaking down assemblies by category, and then talk a little bit about degrees of freedom. And then again, mating 101. So this talks about the browser. It talks about where things are at in the assembly environment, creating the assembly environment, which hint or spoiler alert, it's already there. So when you are in a document, for example, you will see basically that assemblies are already created, right? So if we go back to the selfie stick, which is what they're going to be building and what they're going to be designing, not designing, I should say, just assembling, you will see that assemblies, when you open up any document, are already there. When you start with as a part assembly, but assemblies are already automatically a tab down at the bottom there. So that just talks about that. And then Onshape mating types in general, what the different types are. This is actually a fusion walkthrough, but they are pretty
One of the
close
most
to
important
being
aspects.
identical to the ones used in Onshape. The only difference is these are joints, and what we use in Onshape are called mates. But if you watch the video, it even simulates exactly the way it would work. The dialog boxes are very similar, almost identical. The same things and attributes are there. The only difference is there might be just moved around one up or one down or whatever. So when those dialog boxes come up like this, you'll see there's little things. Play is over on the right and Onshape, and in Fusion it's up. So you'll see. But regardless, this is a really good video of walking through the different types. After we talk about assemblies and we show them, basically what it is, they are going to build, or they're going to assemble, I should say, the selfie stick. And what I put in here is they're going to go under teams, all Onshape users, and selfie stick. So if I go back to documents, they're in teams over here, all company users. This is what they see. So a selfie stick exploded basically, or blown up, is what they're going to build. So I made a walkthrough video on how to do this. I highly recommend, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but watch these videos and practice before you try and teach this. If you're not familiar with assemblies, or if you're not familiar with joints and that kind of stuff, it's not hard. It's just it just takes a little practice. So the joints and all that kind of stuff you'll see are completely different up here. All we really focus on are these first 6 or 7 basic joints. We're not even going to use all of those, to be honest. We basically just use slider. There's a one revolute, I believe, and a fasten. But again, watch the walkthrough video that I've already created. It'll help you tremendously, just understand what the goal is for each of the students. They share the document with their teacher when they're finished, and then submit a message in Schoology assignment titled Assembly Submission. So I have shared this assembly stick with you. So if I go back, you'll see that the selfie stick assembly document is here. Criteria D is here as well. The selfie stick walkthrough is right here, like I just mentioned. The document itself shows basically the exploded view, shows exactly what they're going to get inside of Onshape, and then it shows it together and how it's assembled. I recolored everything so it would be a lot easier to associate what color goes where. And then if you go down here, I zoomed in on where the location of these objects are going to go, and then an overall exploded view of all of those pieces, just in how the assembly should work. So if I go into, again, back to week 6 and Wednesday, it's just a work day for them to work on the selfie sticks assembly. And if they have any questions, obviously come to your work hours or your office hours. Thursday and Friday is a totally different thing. It's working with assemblies, but now the assembly documentation. So basically, they've assembled the whole entire selfie stick in Onshape at this point. And to give you an example, I've also made a walkthrough of how to do this stage. And so if you look at assembly right here, assembly documentation walkthrough, this basically walks through, and again, I've already assembled the selfie stick, which is what the students should have done by this point. And they're going to come over here and see, and the video that I show about talks about all this, the bill of materials, an exploded view that walks through each one of the steps, and activates basically, or I should say, they can activate and show each step of these pieces going together. And again, the video will walk you through how to do all that. But that's what we're going over with the assembly documentation. So in the presentation, we kind of give them a little send off, happy holidays kind of thing. Assembly documentation is what we're going to really focus on. And this is just basically talking about why documentation is even important, what it is, what it should look like, and what it should include, and what we're going to show them. So exploded views, ballooning, and bill of materials. Exploded views showed a little preview, why they're important, what they can be used for, and where they're used in the real world. So bill of materials, not this bill, balloon annotations, walking through what a bill of materials shows, what it can do, what the purpose is behind it. Ballooning and why that's important, just basically identifying the parts. Full drawing file with an exploded view, bill of materials, and ballooning. So this is all of them put together basically. And after they understand what those things are, then they're going to do some practice. So your teacher, you basically will demonstrate using the selfie stick how to do all those things, or you can just play the video that I've already created, the assembly documentation walkthrough. And then you'll see selfie stick document activity, and they're just basically going to build this. And again, through the assembly documentation walkthrough, that shows you how to make it, as you can see here, portrait instead of landscape, for example, different scaling, ballooning, bill of materials, all that kind of stuff. And this is what their finished project should look like, or product, I should say, should look like. So after they're done with that, basically you'll see an assembly submission from the last thing, as well as an assembly documentation submission. I'm trying to, be optimistic, I guess. It took me approximately, because after you make the bill of materials, after you make the exploded view, I think that whole process shouldn't take more than, I'd say, a half hour, 45 minutes for an average student, as far as confidence level and Onshape. But it took me 10 minutes to do it, and so I'm trying to triple it basically for the average level, readiness level for students. So you'll see that the assembly submission, the assembly document submission, and both of those should be more than ready. And I know we're not supposed to give work over the break, but I feel that these are two really accomplishable assignments. So if you have any questions, just reach out. I hope this helps. Bye, guys.